Hello everyone. This game is played between Wilhelm Steinitz and Curt Von Bardeleben in 1895 at Hastings tournament. And if you're new to chess and you don't know who Wilhelm Steinitz is, Wilhelm Steinitz is an Austrian-American chess player, a grandmaster, and he is the first world champion of chess. And he has a lot of contribution to chess, like chess strategies, chess theory, and he's a great theoretician of chess. And there are a lot of openings named after him, especially the Steinitz variation of the French defense, that is after e6, sorry, d4 d5, the French defense. Knight c3 is the classical variation. Knight f6, e5, knight d7, and f4. This is known as the Steinitz variation. Black continues with c5, striking the center, then there's knight f3. So this is known as the Steinitz variation of the French defense in classical variation. So there is that, and he did a lot of contribution to chess. Okay, and Curt Von Bardeleben is a German chess master. Stein started the game with e4, black responded with e5, knight to f3, knight c6, bishop c4. The Italian game is on the board. Black plays bishop to c5, the Gioco piano, and after c3, trying to play d4, black plays this move knight f6. White plays the move d4, black takes, white recaptures cd4, and after bishop to b4 check, white plays this move knight to c3. You may ask, Sivaram, this pawn on e4 is defended by this knight, but this knight is right now pinned. So I think this is a free pawn. Yes, knight takes e4 is one of the best moves, but there is a lot of venom in this move, and black needs to know absolute theory in order to survive this position. Because in this position, white just castles, and if you are greedy and going to take this knight, white's going to recapture. You will capture another pawn, hitting the rook. If you think all of that, white's not going to do that. The moment you take the knight on c3, white can go rook e1 check because the king is still in the center and it's not safe. And actually, the king has to go to f8. Okay, if you try to block with the knight and okay, let's say he recaptures, I again fork. Okay, if you try to do something like this, white will play bishop takes f7 check, forcing the king to capture with knight to g5, or first even recapturing this knight, hitting the bishop. You cannot take here because knight g5 is devastating. So h6 has to be played, and after knight to e5 check, king can go to f8, g8. Let's say it goes to e8. There is queen h5 check with certain devastating attack. It's so complicated, and white is clearly winning in this position. And even after queen h5, it's made in 11 or 12, I guess. Yeah, I think it's made 11 moves. So it's destructive. So people don't generally try to go after this knight takes e4 line unless they know the theory very well. Nowadays, people will go after that, but in those days, they don't. So black played the move d5. White captured the pawn. Black recaptures, and white castled. Black played this move bishop to e6. White played the move bishop to g5, hitting the queen. And f6 is not possible to chase away the bishop because there is rook e1 threatening the black's bishop. Because let's say they take. I mean, rook takes e6 is destructive. There is a bulldozer on the 6th rank. So f6 is not possible. So black played bishop to e7, blocking the attack on the queen. White played bishop takes d5, bishop takes d5, and after knight takes d5, queen takes d5. We entered into a massive trade. We trade everything, and white plays this move rook to e1, putting pressure on the knight, which is right now pinned to the king, and this disallows black from castling, because if black castles, the knight is lost. So best move for black in this position is f6, with certain ideas of going king f7, rook e8, and king g8. That is actually castling by hand. I will show how it looks. White plays this move queen e2, putting pressure. Queen has to go back, defending. When white plays this move, rook to c1, putting one more rook on the open, semi-open file. c6. c6 is the first inaccuracy and the slipping point for black, because in this position it's absolutely necessary to run with the king. King f7, followed by rook e8 and king g8. Black is holding a draw. The position is equal. But c6 is a step in the wrong direction, and in this position, Steinitz played this amazing pawn sacrifice, d5. This is actually a clearance sacrifice. In chess, there are a lot of sacrifices, especially there is known as a clearance sacrifice. You may ask, what is a clearance sacrifice? Clearance sacrifice is you sacrifice a pawn to clear a specific square to which your piece gains access to it, and it can go to some other squares and put pressure. In this case, by sacrificing this d4 pawn by playing d5, this d4 square is now available to the knight. And right now, this knight cannot make any forward progress, because this pawn on f6 may look stupid, but it is actually doing a great job to keep this knight at bay. So d5 is such an excellent move. It clears the d4 square and the knight will be centralized, and it has a lot of opportunities to go to e6, f5 and put pressure on the knight, because let's say when the knight goes to f5, the queen actually cannot capture because queen takes e7 is mate. So anyway, so this is a clearance sacrifice, and black accepted the sacrifice, which is a wrong move actually. Actually, in this position, the best move is still to go king f7, not accept this pawn. When white takes, you just take back. That's it. Still, white enjoys a lot of advantage, but that's how it works. But black captured the pawn, which is a mistake. Now, white can play the move knight to d4. The same idea. We have the square, centralize the knight. King f7, trying to unpin, but it's too late, I would say. White just jumps in with the knight on e6, and that knight is not a knight, it's a monster sitting on e6. And after rook h to c8, trying to trade rooks, white plays the sneaky move queen to g4. This move has two purposes. One is to play queen takes g7, and when the king goes back, you can checkmate on f8. That is, let's say black plays something, you just go check, checkmate. Okay, that's one idea. The other idea is, in some cases, there is this backward knight g5 move, or a lot of discoveries against this undefended queen. So these are the two ideas in the position. So black defends the main threat of checkmate by playing g6, but there is knight g5, the secondary idea, comes into play. Discover check with an attack on the queen. The king has only one move, that is, king can go back to e8 and defend the queen. But black is completely lost in this position. Feel free to pause the video and try to win the game for Steinitz. Congratulations, if you had sacrificed your rook. Rook takes e7. Because in this position, this rook cannot be captured. You may ask, what? Why shouldn't I capture this rook? What if I play queen takes e7? Because this queen has an X-ray vision on that rook on c8. That is, X-ray vision is when a piece can put pressure on a piece when it is obstructed by another piece. So there is a queen right now, but there is also a pressure exerted on the rook on c8. Okay, there are also a lot of x-ray tactics and all of that. So when this is captured, this opens up, and after rook c8, queen c8, black has to go queen d8 because king cannot go anywhere. Our good knight covers the f7 square. After queen to d8, we have queen to e6 check, forcing queen e7, and you can trade, you can go queen g8, still harass, but even trading and just coming back, look at this endgame. White is completely winning this endgame. So black actually cannot accept this rook sacrifice. So what black did is, black played king f8. You know what Steinitz played in this position? Steinitz played rook f7 again. Literally. This rook cannot be captured because you may think, okay, if I capture, I lose my queen. No, 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 you don't recapture the queen. If queen captures, we first eliminate this rook, because if you capture, there is mate in the back rank. Beginner things to notice. So first you take the rook, and the same idea. Wherever the king goes, let's say g7, you take, so and you will be up a queen, literally. So black even cannot accept this. So what the black does? Black goes king g8. Steinitz played rook g7. Imagine this. He's literally shoving the rook. Rook takes e7 check. King f8. Rook f7. King g8. Rook g8. Okay. Still, the rook cannot be captured because of the same issue. So black played the move king h8. And white literally sacrificed the rook again. So this is such an immortal rook. Still, it cannot be captured because of the same issue. And black resigned the game in this position. And you may ask why black resigned the position. Because what else can black do? Let's say black goes king to g8. That is actually mate in 10 in this position without, let's say if black defends properly, the mate can be averted, but it will lead to a lot of material sacrifices. That is, the mate intent starts with rook to g7. Here black has to give up the queen, and after rook c8 and queen c8, queen f8, we have queen to e6 check, king to g7, and queen to d7 check, king to h6, and knight to f7, and the attack just literally pounces. Okay, but actually the mate intent starts when after rook takes g7, there is king g7, or even king h8. King g7 loses terribly, and it's, you know, we have queen takes d7 check. So let's say the king goes to h8. There is queen to h4 check. Sorry about that. Queen to h4 check. King has to capture the rook now, and he may be like, okay, I have two rooks. There is only one rook, and if white is careless, this is back rank mate. But white plays queen h7 check, king f8, queen h8 check. King cannot come to f7. King has to go to e7. There is queen g7 check. King cannot go to d6 because there is queen takes f6 and it's made in 2. So the best move is to go to e8, and after queen to g8, king to e7, queen to f7 check, literally forcing the king to go to one of these two squares. The best move is to go to d8. White checks on f8. King cannot escape to c7 because our rook is cutting off the c file. So queen has to go and block, and white has this move knight f7, not knight e6, not knight e6 check, because there is king to d7 and the queen cannot come to d6, delivering mate. So white has this knight f7 move. Queen cannot capture because there is a pin. So king has to come to d7 and queen to d6. is checkmate. So imagine this happened on the board. It would have been wonderful to see all those variations. But yeah, so that's why seeing all that, the opponent of Steinitz resigned the game after Rook takes a h7 check, and this game is a very famous game of Steinitz. That is the impossible or the immortal Rook sacrifice. That is after knight g5, king e8. That is rook takes e7, king f8, rook f7, king g7, rook g7, king h8, and rook h8, rook h7, and black resigned. So yeah, that's a wonderful game and it's such a masterpiece. If you enjoyed the video, consider subscribing to the channel, leave a like, and share it to a friend. Thank you.